Hey guys, just going to quickly go through this for you in case you get stuck or need some help. When we go through this, we're just going to simplify each of these. We want to know, when does it equal -2? So this is like saying the cubed root of -8. And remember, when it's a cubed, we can take that negative out, and that's where we get negative on the outside, and then the cube root of 8 is 2. So we're going to go ahead and say that that does equal. On this second one, because it's not in parentheses like up here above it, that negative's on the outside. So there it's saying negative, and then they want to know the square root of 4. So with that, we get a negative, and the square root of 4 is 2. So that one also works. The difference between these two is that negative is on the inside. So this time it's asking for the square root of -4. And that, as we know, is 2i. And that is not equal, so we're not going to check that one. Over here, this becomes 1 over 2, and that's very clearly not the same. And then lastly, this one, again, because that negative is on the outside, that's saying negative, and then cubed root of 8. Sorry, that's a little blurry. I'll try to do better on the next one. That one's going to go ahead and say that, sorry, that's a positive there. Negative, and then the cube root of 8 is 2, so that answer is -2 also, so we're going to go ahead and choose that one. Going down here to this one, just don't even worry about this one, guys. We're not going to be concerned with that. For station 2, what you need to go do is go through and simplify each of these problems. You can go ahead and distribute this -1 to every single item. Okay, when you do that, when you go ahead and distribute that, we end up with on top, and once you move things around, we have 4 on top, x to the 5th, y squared, z squared. We're going to clear this up after because I'm really bad at typing with this or writing with it. And on the bottom, we have an x to the 4th and a y to the 5th. If you simplify all that down, where your x is bigger on top by 1, that matches. Where the y is bigger on the bottom by 3, that matches. And then my z squared is on top still. So that one's going to go ahead and be checked off. Let me see if I can write with my other tool right now. Okay, on this next problem, when we go through this, when we go through and simplify this one, we're going to go ahead and say on top, we have oops. Let's see, it's not wanting to work here. Okay, well, let's try this a different way. We go ahead and we've got a 2 squared on top. We have x squared. We have a y squared. We have a z squared times another 2. Okay, and that 2 came from right there. And on the bottom, we just have an x, y to the 5th. So with that, when we simplify, just on top right away, I look and I see a 2 squared and a 2, which means that I'm going to have an 8. And I know with nothing on the bottom that that is not going to cancel out at all. So we're going to go ahead and say no on this one. Okay. On this third one, let me go through and put this into a different color so it's a little bit easier to see for you. With this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and immediately put that on the bottom. Say 3 to the first power, y to the 7th power, and z to the 2nd power, and that's gone now. When I clean this up, on top, that 12 over 3 does equal 4 on top. My x, that's the only one. My y's are bigger on the bottom by 3, and my z's are on the bottom with 2. That one does not match because of this z squared on the bottom. Okay, come on over here. This one can just be straight simplified, and when we do that, we get 4x z squared over y to the 3rd, and that one does match. When you simplify this one over here, you get 1x on top, 4 y to the 3rd, z squared, z to the 3rd on the bottom, and that one also does not match, so we're not going to check that one off. Let's go ahead and scroll down to station 3 here, and on station 3, what we need to go through is simplify this one first. So what's going to happen here? Oops. Okay, what's going to happen is that I'm going to take that -1. Now this negative out front, okay, that one's going to stay no matter what. So I know my answer is going to be negative. So I can cross this one off and I can cross this one off. Okay, I'm going to go through and I'm going to distribute, and I get 4 to the -1. I get a to the -3. I get b to the 0. That one's just gone. And I get c to the +4. In the denominator, I end up with a 6 to the -1, an a to the -1, a b to the -7, and a c to the +2. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to change my color so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to move my negatives around. 4 comes down. A comes down. 6 goes up. A goes up. And B goes up. Okay. Now simplifying this, that's 6 over, I'm sorry, hold on. Let's go back a step here. Let's just clean this up. So on top, I have 6a, b to the 7th, c to the 4th. In the denominator, I have 4, a to the 3rd, c squared. Now, when I simplify this, that's 6 over 4. Okay, we can take a 2 out of both of them, and I end up with a 3 on top and a 2 on the bottom. My a's are bigger on the bottom by 2. I'm not going to touch the b's. And then my c's are bigger on top by 2. So we're going to go ahead and look at that. And again, remember that negatives out front. So when we go through and match that up, we're going to go with this answer down here. Okay. Station 4. So all you need to do on this one, guys, is go through and simplify each of the problems here. Okay. This top station, what happens here? Remember, when we take the 1/2, that's like taking the square root of everything. Also know that we're taking the negative. Now, everything inside the parentheses is positive. So I know I'm going to take the reciprocal of that. So I know that I want the square root of x to the 8th, y to the 4th, 16, x to the 4th, y to the 6th. Okay. You can go ahead and clean this up before you start taking square roots. But once we go through that, all of that, we end up with x squared over 4y. On the bottom here, this next one, as a reminder, because this is in parentheses, that's like saying -2 squared, which does equal 4. So I have 4 x squared, and then when I distribute that 2 to that y value, I get a y to the 1st. So my final answer there is going to be 4x squared y. Problem 3 here. Okay, problem 3. Again, now I have that negative, but it's asking for the cube root. Also, the cubed root of negative 64 is going to be -4. Okay, the cube root of x to the 6th is going to be an x squared, and the cube root of y to the 3rd is just y. So there's your answer on that one. Okay, coming down here, I'm going to take this off to the side a bit so we can see what's happening. This first set of the parentheses, when I square it, I get 4 squared, which is 16. I have an x squared, and I have a y to the 3rd. That second set of parentheses, that negative is going to make it go to the bottom, and I end up with an 8 squared. The x goes away, and a y squared. Okay. Remember, 8 squared is 64, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce that, and what I get for an answer is going to be x squared on top over 4y. Down here for this last problem, remember we've got that negative out there, so I know I'm going to have a negative in my answer here. And when I go through this, I know right away that my 5 and my 20 can simplify to be just a 4 on top, where my x is bigger, on top by 2, where my y is bigger, on top by 1. So your answer is -4x squared y. Station 5, when we go through and simplify this one, guys, what we're going to do here, I'm going to rewrite all of this. And I end up with 1x y squared. 2 goes on the bottom. and then I have 8 to the 4/3, x to the 8/3, and y to the 24/3, which is just 8. Okay, clean this up a little bit. With this, I know I've got my x and my x have to go together. Remember, this is like saying 3 out of 3. So I'm going to clean this up, and I got an x to the 11/3 there. And then my whole number, 8 to the 4/3. That's like saying the cubed root of 8, which is 2, and 2 squared is, and 2 to the 4th is going to be 16. And then my y's stay. And on the bottom, I have a 2, y to the 8th. Cleaning that up, 16 over 2 reduces to 8, x to the 11/3, and my y's are bigger on the bottom by 6. Okay, let me go ahead and clear my screen here. We're going to go through and simplify this. They want the cube root of 54x. Okay, as a reminder, you can split 54 into 9 and 6, and that's like saying 4 x's. Okay, we want buddies of 3. Remember that 9 is a 3 and 3, and 6 is a 3 and 2. So we have a group of 3, a group of 3, and then a leftover. So on the outside, I'm going to have a 3 and an x, and then on the inside of that cube root, I have a 2 and an extra x. Okay, station 7 here. Let's go through and just simplify this. As a reminder, this is like asking for the cubed root of 24, a to the 4th, b to the 9th. That 24 can break apart into 6 and 4. We've got a 3, a 2, a 2, and a 2. Okay, so there's a group of buddies. Okay, so with that, on the outside, I know I'm going to have a 2. Okay, look at my A's. I can take out 3 of those for one pair, and my B's, I can take out 3 groups of those. That's a 3, by the way. And on the inside, I have that single 3 left. When I take out 3 of those A's, I'm left with a single A, and I have no 9's left. So I'm looking at 2ab to the 3rd and the cube root of 3a. Okay. On this one, what you're going to have to do on this is not only simplify this part, but simplify each of these. So when I go through that, I'm going to start with that. My simplified answer of that is going to be 4x squared over y to the 4th. Okay, when I simplify this going through, you get this answer. Okay, when I simplify the second one, I also get that answer. This third one simplifies to 2x square root of 2 over y squared. So you can clearly see that those don't work. Okay, right away off the bat, I'm going to start with that 4th root of 128. It's not perfect, so I'm going to say no on that one because I know it has to come out perfectly. Then lastly, when I simplify this one, it also comes out to my 4x squared over y to the 4th. Clear this. Okay, and for station 9 here, go through, simplify this first set, and I end up with a perfect square there of 6x squared y to the 7th. And in the back, the cube root of that is going to be a perfect 3x to the 5th y to the negative 2. Put all of that together, and we end up with 18x to the 7th y to the 5th. Okay. And lastly, on this one, I'm not going to worry about that. We can answer those questions when we come back. Okay, good luck on the quiz and do your best. You can use your notes. Bye.